So I don't know how long ago it was when I tried to do this video, when I did it live, I think it was, where I was going to take the DC versus Multiverse, DC versus Vampire Joker gold label Walmart exclusive Joker, you know what I'm talking about, and the Hush figure from Batman, DC Multiverse Hush. I decided to go with a black, solid black for the base coat of this jacket, and I thought in my mind I was going to be able to hit all the highlights with this purple. Actually, the Joker looked pretty good in the black jacket, but anyway, I should have just stayed there. I should have quit while I was ahead. But anyway, what happened was I tried to get all the highlights and stuff and try to hit all the highlights of the jacket with a deep purple where you could see it, but you can't see it. But what happened was the black just kept soaking it up, layer after layer after layer after layer. I could not get the purple to appear correctly. It just kept soaking into it. So I went with a lighter purple. Then I went over top it with a darker purple. It still did not take for some, did not take. I guess I should have just dry brushed everything with a light coat of primer or white and then go over with it. But I was only trying to get the purple to stand out on the edges of the jacket where it flares out to the left there on the screen, and maybe some spots around the top. But it didn't work. It was hopelessly failed, and I just caked this thing so much that I just gave up. And here's what happened. I guess after I got done here, I was really packing that purple on there, man, really packing it on there. At the end, where I was sitting, my lights, it looked okay, but I still wasn't happy. After a week of going back and forth with this thing and letting it dry and trying to do it over and over again, it was completely unsuccessful. I think I approached it the wrong way. It wasn't coming out of my mind like it was, like out of my mind to actually into the figure where I think I needed to be. So here where I was at the end, I wasn't real happy with it still. I decided to look at it, and something told myself, let me go out here in my room and check it out, see what it looks like out in my room. The purple just disappeared. So you know what I did? Yep. I got a little pissed off, trashed it, and threw it away. So I started over. I bought another Hush figure. So here's the new Hush figure on the left, and there's the Joker on the right still, waiting to put the head sculpt on top of the Hush figure. I completely started over. It was so much caked up stuff on that last Hush figure on the jacket. It was just noticeable. It's a really good sculpt. The Hush figure on the left is a really great sculpt in my opinion, and I really like the jacket. But this time I was going to go, you know what, forget about it. We're just going to go straight purple. We're going to go a old classic purple. And that's what I did. So here's the Hush figure, the way it came out of the box, the second one. And there's the Hush figure with the head sculpt kind of sitting on top, not completely pressed down yet because it was just for sake of the video. Here, the last time I took the thing apart completely, and it was kind of a pain to get it out of get the pieces out of that coat. So this time I decided to tape off everything that was there and just take the arms off. That way it's going to be it's a quicker project. And I used right there, just straight out primering this thing up. I didn't go really opaque. I didn't make it a complete solid primer. I just went with it. I glazed it, and then I wanted the inside of the jacket to be black underneath and then purple. So I'll pop in and out and tell you guys what's going on. Here's where I'm doing the black inside the trench coat. I just wanted it black inside there. I don't know why, just wanted it black. Be careful with the heat gun, by the way. You can melt your figures pretty quick with the heat gun. So after I did that, I came to myself and I started thinking, what purple exactly do I want before I actually start putting this onto the figure? So I put a couple samples together. Here they are. The one on the right is a purple with a little bit of a pink, and one on the left is kind of the traditional Joker purple. I took it upstairs and asked my wife. She said she liked this one right here, the Concord Grape. Now the Concord Grape is a great purple for the Joker. There's only one problem. I didn't realize I was using apple barrel. For you guys that don't know, apple barrel is a very, very inexpensive acrylic paint. Now, to get it to go through the airbrush is a whole nother story. Good luck. I hope you're a mad scientist, because I'm surely not. You have to really water it down, use your reducer, easy flow, whatever your mad scientist concoction is to use cheaper paint in a airbrush, this apple barrel is really tough. In between a couple of sprays here and there, you got to stop, take it to the, the sink, wrench it off, and repeat. You can't use it for a long period of time with this cheap ass apple barrel. Now, that's what I had on hand. I'd have like running out to the store and get a cheaper version of acrylic paint, but there's other paints out there that are better than apple barrel, in my opinion. Apple barrel's like 50 cents a bottle. There's nothing wrong with that. That's great because it's a great paint. But to push through a paintbrush, an airbrush, that's a whole nother story. Just save the frustration and get yourself another kind of acrylic paint. So now we're going to the hammer. The hammer came just green. I hit it lightly with the primer, not too much, and then I hit it with some white, and then I painted it up. I wanted a comic book feel. This is a great sculpt when it comes to this hammer, and like I said, the comic book feel, I didn't want it really just solid colors is what I was going for. I'll let you guys watch, and I'll pop back in again here in a few minutes if something's going on. So here's the hammer when it's done. I didn't want to make it too, I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff for detail here. The sculpt has a lot of detail as a hammer. I did put a little bit of wash, just regular brown wash inside here. I didn't do anything with the top, just except put the black where the J is. Let me get in frame here. And just opaque green, the mouth some yellow, dry brush a little bit of white, a little dirty, grungy looking, kind of a comic book feel. I didn't go too much with the grain with the head and the face and everything. You can see the grain in there as it is. I didn't want to bother with it too much. I was going for a comic book type of look where it's bright colors and clean straight lines much as possible. I had to put the mouth, I bring the mouth up a little bit more than what it was. There wasn't nothing there, so I bring it up. For the eyeballs though, I used this metallic turquoise. I was going to go with the green with the eyeballs, but after I decided to look, I had that sitting around, and it just looked a little more menacing, or I don't know, it just really pops out of it. It just pops with the white and all the other colors. I think I was going to go if I could speak, traditional green with the eyeballs like they normally do in the comics or whatever, but I decided to go with the turquoise metallic. For the collar here, I used, like you've seen earlier in the video, if I get my thumb out of the way, is an eggplant umbergin. I can't, if that's right. Where did they get these names from? Anyway, so this is the hammer. I think the hammer turned out pretty cool, pretty neat. It's better than just green, but that's what I went with. Cool. I think it turned out pretty good, man. Right on. Look at that shit. Look at that. Look at it. It's Pinocchio. Now here is the arts and sides crest of the project. Now why did I even do this? Well, I told myself, if I'm going to cop out and not really go deep with that trench coat and look all the detail and go really deep and show some shadows and show some this and show some of that, which sometimes in a project that's not what it's called for. You just do it, sometimes just a plain straight color works. This time it did for me, and I was done. It's been like 3 weeks now. But anyway, I went to Walmart and bought me a J. Then I got a piece of wood from the back in my garage that just looked like a square piece. It's a 1x6, and I cut it down probably 7 inches long. What I would suggest to do is get a better base. That wood's not the best wood. It's kind of cheap wood, but it served a purpose here. And I did not. I was sitting there one night thinking, how can I make this Joker look pretty cool? I'm thinking, if I'm just going to go with just a great straight out purple, I was thinking to myself, what can I do? Let me build a diorama to go along with it, to hide the fact that I kind of failed on me trying to make this jacket look as crazy and realistic as possible. But I was laying there, so my daughter does puzzles, and she takes this Mod Podge shit that you put on the puzzle, and it preserves it, makes it hard, and you can hang it on the wall. I didn't know what the hell even it was, and I thought to myself, what if I use a comic book? And I thought to myself, there's no way I can use it on a comic book, because a comic book is really thin, the pages are cheap, the ink runs on your fingers, or whatever, I was thinking the Mod Podge would just eat the paper up, the comic book up, and it just wouldn't work. So I happened to look on YouTube, because where else do you go in the world when you're trying to find out something anymore is YouTube. So I went to YouTube, and come to find out, they've been doing this for years. I had no clue. So this isn't like, I wasn't trying to take credit for this, but I'm just saying I was so surprised. I would have done this a long time ago. This is really cool. What takes the time is cutting all this stuff out. You have to you're just tracing and cutting, just like anything else. Now, I love an X-Acto knife. I love X-Acto knives, and hobby stuff, it's great. But what I would use, like they did on YouTube, is that really cheap razor blade knife that's really skinny and long, and you can break the end off when it gets dull and you got a new end. The only reason why I say go with that instead is because at the end of this X-Acto knife, it's kind of round, it's kind of blunt. So when you try to get really close to the edge to make a really straight edge, what I'm getting at is it kind of has to fit exactly on top of the piece that you're cutting. Whatever you're cutting out of the comic book or whatever you're using to glue this paper down, it sort of has to be nice, clean, by spec, if you know what I mean, as close as you can possibly get it. I forgot to mention about the J. It's a real expensive piece of particle board or cheap wood, but it's really smooth. So you can get those in alphabetical order, A to Z, you know, usually, but it's like $1.99 or 99 cents at Walmart. So it's about 7 inches tall and about a ½ inch wide, just in case anybody's wondering where the J came from. I found that it was a lot easier to put smaller pieces, just like anything else. If you're trying to glue down, smaller the better, but you can use the bigger pieces. You just have to just be a little more patient. That stupid little thing right there that my daughter let me borrow, that little roller, man, I tell you, with that, reminds me of a windshield wiper. When you're cleaning the windshield wiper with the squeegee and you roll it out, it just seems to work out pretty well. Here's the cover of the comic book that I used for the actual base of the project. As soon as I walked into the store, I just saw it right there at the bottom. And these were the discount comics, man, and that was right in the front on the bottom row. So that there, I knew that was going to be the cover of it. But yeah, that's about it, man. There's my arts and crafts right there for the first time. I'm sure if I took it a little bit slower, I could have made it look a little better, but you know, I'm happy with it, man. But I'll catch up with you guys later here in the video. Now we're going to get up close with the base that I made. I'm just going to give you a close shot of it. If I were you guys, if you ever do this, like I said, this is kind of the first time for me. your wood, little crevice and cracks, I mean little wrinkles here, that's not the actual comic book. It's the actual wood underneath. It wasn't a very great piece of wood I used. I didn't use a whole lot of that Mod Podge on top here, but I did use some in here. But I didn't want to go with anything real bright colors in the background with the J, because I wanted it to be separated from the actual figure. So I just went with some stuff like that. You can see some different pictures of the Joker there, and put Batman on the back, of course. But I don't know. I picked these up, like I said, at the bookstore for $1 a piece just to tear up. But I thought it's pretty cool, man. If you haven't tried it yet and you're into stuff like this, man, give it a try. Anyway, got the Joker on there. I mean, Penguin on there. It's not the best. I should use a thicker piece of wood, but it's for the first time. It's not bad. I mean, it's pretty cool. But there you go. That's the base. A little bit close up there on the base. That was actually the front cover of the comic. That's the first comic I saw when I went into the comic book store. Was this one. It was actually kind of hard to find some comics with the Joker in it at that particular place. Well, here he is, man. Here's the Joker. I had to switch my hood, the color HUD, HUE or something like that, because he was purple. He was showing up blue. Colors in the background are kind of a little changed up, but this is it right here. This is about it. This is really cool, really easy to do. Nothing hard about it. I'll give you guys some close-ups here in a minute, but I'm only using a base for his foot right now because it's on the turntable thing. But outside of that, man, it was a good project. I'm glad I did it. It turned out pretty cool. I'm glad I just didn't trash it all together when I threw it away. If you ever do something like this, man, and it's kind of inexpensive, like a $15 figure, just don't get frustrated, man. Just buy another one. Start over. Because after a while, when that paint starts caking up on the jacket, man, you can just start to tell that something's not quite right on the actual sculpt when you get done. I have another sculpt I did that I never put up, never made a video. I may do it just for a quick reference of showing you when you should stop instead of keep going. But anyway, thanks for watching. I know it's been a while. I got a few videos coming out. I got some new stuff coming up, and I got some old school horror crazy shit going on that I'm gonna put up. I'll probably lose a few subs after that one, but that's okay. Hey man, it's all about having fun. It's all about getting silly with it, man. So this is a real easy one, a real quick run over. I'll give you some close-ups like I said here in a minute. All I did is paint the purple jacket purple. The only thing if you just take your time is the time the hammer can be time consuming that he's holding because it was green. Just keep it in the lines, man. Pick some solid colors and be done with it. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys later.